The mountain I was headed for today is often described as one of the most remote Munros in Scotland, and as such, an early start was required, and I was up with the sun just peeking over the horizon. However, I'm not too sure whether we can use the words remote and wild in Scotland, and I'll maybe come on to that later on. But anyway, for the time being, a bike was getting used to speed up the progress, as it was a long way to the start of the walk.
I'm hoping that the audio is going to be okay, because I've gone and picked up the wrong microphone for this camera. It's a good start to the day. Anyway, I am heading to what's often described as one of the most remote Munros or mountains, or certainly one of the most isolated, that's for sure. But I don't know if it actually is. And I'm going to talk a bit about that in this video. I don't know if there is actually anywhere that's remote. I suppose it depends what your definition of remote is. So anyway, more about that as I go on. I've got a few kilometres of cycle. There's 2 mountains I could do, but I think I'm only going to do one. But yeah, I'll bring you back later on once I've done a few miles on the bike. Right, let's get our head down and get cycling. I've got a long way to go.
So the Munro that I was headed for was one called An Sgarsoch, and it must be about 16 or 17 kilometres to get to the base of the hill and the start of the walk. So I was certainly glad that I'd brought the bike, because the paths are pretty good in this part of the world. Anyway, the sun was shining and things were looking good as I headed along the track towards the White Bridge.
It's starting to warm up a bit. I'm glad that sun's up. It's early. It's actually a wee bit cold today. It was a lot milder yesterday. It was really quite humid. In fact, I think I might just be a silhouette. Let me just spin you around this way so you can see me. Oh, here we go. That's maybe a bit better. You can maybe see me now. Yeah, so yeah, it was quite muggy and humid yesterday. In fact, we actually came up yesterday afternoon before the rain came in and settled down. We were parked at the Linnadee and we went for a wee duke. We'd bought some new new wild swimming, I think they're called dry robes, and we were keen to try them out. Plus the Linnadee is a lovely wee spot for a wee duke. So we went in for a wee duke there last night, and then the rain started and it hosed it down. But that's essentially a cold front moving through, and it's a bit fresher this morning, and until this point my hands have been quite cold, but now that the sun's up I'm starting to get a bit warmer. But going back to that rain last night, I'd put the bike behind the camper van in a slight of, I was in a drainage ditch which was dry when I put it there, but when I went out just before bedtime the bike was submerged up to halfway up its wheels. So I'm a bit worried because I've been across one bridge so far, the White Bridge at the Chestedee. I'm in the cairgorms, but there's a few river crossings, and if that rain, well, it was heavy last night, it might have swollen the rivers. It could be quite problematic. There's 3 crossings that I need to do, but anyway, let's not worry about that now. There's a wee bothy up here which I've got to get past first, so we'll bring you back in a wee while. I'm just going to enjoy the sunshine while it lasts.
With the destination being quite far away, I was certainly glad that these tracks allowed speedy access, and they really are really nice for cycling on. You don't even need a mountain bike at this stage. Anyway, on I went, and the last time I was here was when I did my IMHO to Perth journey. It brought back some nice memories. Anyway, it's a lovely, lovely area. And before long, I was reaching the point where I could see across the Geldie Burn.
Okay, so I've been going for about an hour. Done about 8 kilometres, well, 45 minutes. And that's with stopping to fart about with the cameras. But some of you might recognise where I am here. This is the River Geldie behind me, and when I did my IMHO to Perth, I think it was about 85, 90 miles, I had to cross it, and it was a lot lower than this, but I have to cross this river a few miles upstream. So it looks like I might be getting my feet wet, but I have brought a backup plan. Anyway, it's probably going to be too small, but you can see the end of Benaglow, the last hill in Benaglow down there. That takes you down towards Glen Tilt. But I'm going to be heading up this way behind me. You might be able to see the bothy behind me. The Red Bothy, I want to call it. I can't remember. It's got a red roof anyway. It looks quite busy. It's a weekend. I think it's one of these easier bothies to get to, so I think it's going to be quite busy. So I'm not going to go in because it's not even 7 AM yet. I don't want to wake everyone up. I might pop in on the way back if it's a bit later on. But yeah, heading up here. Let's get going and see if I need to take my shoesies off for crossing these burns. That rain last night certainly swollen them a wee bit, so a wee bit concerned. Might not make it out. Right, let's go. Okay, so that probably doesn't look like much, but I would probably have to get my shoes off to not get wet, because that's probably, yeah, it's just, I don't know how deep that is, but there is a wee bridge up there. I don't know if you can see it. So I've been saved this time, but I do know the next few crossings I shall not be saved, so I'm resigned to getting my feet wet in this one. Hopefully if I can get across. It might be too dangerous depending on the fording point, but yeah, let's go up and over this bridge up here. Okay, so I've arrived at the first river crossing, and it actually looks pretty doable. I'm actually thinking I could maybe try and cycle across it. No, I'll push it, but I don't think I need to get my my shoes off. I think I'm going to get across here with my feet being dry. Am I going to regret saying that? But look at this, oh, the sun's coming out just in time. Doesn't look too bad. There's this bit here, and get my feet on and then across. I've crossed worse and not had my, not got my feet wet. So let's see. Got a funny feeling the next one was a bit more substantial, but let's cross here and see. Yeah, I'll report back in a wee while. Right, no idea if the action cam picked that up, but I got over to the rocks and then realised that I would have got my feet wet, so I tried to just cycle across it, and that was a success. No wet feet, so on we go to the next one. In fact, you'll not make it out, but there's a old ruin called the Geldie Lodge I can see now. That could be the point where I'll be leaving my bike. I'll maybe try and get it a bit further on, but these are the two hills, two Munros up there, but I'll talk about them in a wee while. Right, one river crossing done, on to the next one. Oh, right. Oh yeah, this is a bit deeper. It might not look that bad in the camera, it never does. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to try and get my my water shoes on here to get across it. Right. Now whilst I'm getting my my shoesies out, so these shoes are actually, they're neoprene wee boots that I wear for my kayaking, but I brought them for this purpose, but I wore them when we went for a wee swim last night as well. So let's stick these on, a bit of a pain. But anyway, let's talk a wee bit about, yeah, these hills being classified as remote. So I think certainly in terms of the UK, these hills are certainly as far away from a road or a settlement or somewhere where you can park your car as you can get. What have I done so far? 14 kilometres maybe, and there's still a few more kilometres to go. I don't know if that makes them remote. And the reason I say that is it's only taken me, well, just over an hour to get here. So I don't know if that, I don't know, it depends on your definition of remote. I mean, it certainly feels more remote. I mean, for instance, I was in the Swiss Alps last week. Fantastic big mountains, 4,000 metre peaks, but there's hee-haw remote about them. You've got mountain huts with restaurants and cable cars going up to them and all that sort of jazz. But then there's other places, I suppose, that are really remote, like Alaska and the Yukon and Canada and all these places. And I just think in the UK, there's certainly no wild land. Well, again, it depends on the definition of wild, but if this is remote, it's all, I mean, the whole area, everything I can see has been managed by man, really. I think it's the same in every square inch of the British Isles, or Scotland anyway. But anyway, I think what I would say is it's a remote feeling place because you're so far away from civilization. Maybe that's what it is. It's remote feeling, and it's probably harder to get to if you were walking in. As I said, bringing the bike, it's hardly taking me any time at all, so in that sense of remote, it's not really that remote. If that makes, God, I'm confusing myself. Right, let's just get these, let's get this sorted out. I'll report back when I'm crossing doing the crossing.
So I got everything set and I was soon headed across the Geldie, and it never looks as bad as it feels when you're there. These things never look as bad on the camera, but I tell you what, you had to be careful. It was relatively deep and the flow of the water was starting to pull the bike away from me, so I just had to take my time, plant my feet, and it's certainly not a place you'd want to slip or go to if the river levels were any higher than this.
Oh right, that's that done. Wasn't too bad, but it was up to my knees, so I wouldn't have been able to cycle through it. So I'm glad that I brought these neoprene boots to wear to get across. One to watch out for, I think. Again, you know, if you're watching this in Scotland and then you're into the Munros, this sort of thing is it's not that common, but you know, if you're out walking, you do have to sometimes cross burns and rivers, and I suspect after, you know, if it's really heavy rain, it could be impassable. But what I was going to say is, looking back again at foreign places, you know, if you look at Iceland and Canada, and river crossings there are like a whole different ball game. So I'm not going to complain too much. Right, let's get the boots back on. I'm going to head up to the Geldie Lodge. I'd be surprised if there wasn't people camping there. It's actually a spot I think Ray has camped at a few times. My old bucker from RS Outdoors, go and check his channel out. So I've never actually been to it before. I've done these hills a few times, but I've never done them from the Lona D side. You can continue up here, by the way. I think there's a big loop, mountain bike loop, which takes you through to Glenfeshie. I might be wrong. I'm sure, as I always say, somebody will correct me if I am wrong, but I think you can sort of loop round, maybe not via the Geldie Lodge, maybe heading further up there. But I don't think it's past the Geldie Lodge. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Let's get these boots on. I also did, well, you might have noticed I did 2 crossings. I went across with my bags and then went back for the bike, just because I wanted to have stability with the poles, taking the bags across, and then use the bike as the balancing aid when I took it across, if that makes sense. Probably not. Oh, it's taken up a wee bit of time, this actually, all this farting about. Shoes on, shoes off, drone footage, camera footage, all that jazz. So let's just get going. Ease away, see how far I can cycle up. Got all this to do on the way back in a few hours as well. Oh, the joys. Let's go. Deploy granny gear. Such an idiot. We've come about 100 metres and there's another bit to cross. It's just that I could get across and get wet feet, but I don't want to get wet feet. I know it doesn't look that bad on the camera, but right, I'm going to get I brought those shoes with me, so I'm going to put them on and cross here. Can't believe it! What a pain in the backside. Right, let's do it. I'm just really annoyed at myself. I just finished saying to the camera it's taken me about half an hour to get them on and off, and I'm going to have to do it again. I'm not going to be filming this bit. Well, I'm filming it now, but I'll be hip cam belt in a minute, I think. Let's cut to that. I don't think you need to see me putting my shoes back on. So after more faffing about, getting my shoes back on, I eventually got back on my bike and headed the short distance up to the Geldie Lodge. As promised, here I am at the Geldie Lodge, and I'm assuming it's an old thing. There's lots of these old buildings scattered around. Anyway, it's a wild, or is it wild? It's a lovely area. The wind's picking up a bit, so I'm going to take the bike a bit further on, see how far I can cycle, mainly for coming back down to, my wife and the dogs are in the van, so I said I wouldn't be too low. So let's go. I can see the hill behind me where I'm going up now. Because you start quite high here and you're cycling quite, you're probably gaining a bit more height. Cycling as well. I don't think there'll be too much trekking, but let's go. I'll report back in a wee while. Back on the bike.
I think most people leave their bikes at the lodge or at the river crossing, but I had read it was quite a good walker's path, so I think, yeah, it is cyclable if you're used to the mountain bikes and don't mind a wee bit of rougher terrain. You can certainly take your mountain bike a bit further up the hill, which pays dividends on the way back.
Right, I've actually brought the bike quite far along the path, and this wee cairn here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this wee cairn signifies the start of a path. Although doesn't look like there's much of a path there, but I'm going to head up here and see. The weather's on the slide. It's there's rain in the air, and that wasn't forecast. It's meant to be sunny. But it's Scotland, isn't it? Let's just keep our fingers crossed. But it's a wide, open, expansive hillsides here, and I'm going to think the top of this. So let me check. Let me just see. It's yeah, it's above 1,000 metres. An Sgarsoch is the name of the hill. And then there is a second Munro a bit further out, it's not too far away. Carna Fiddler. I don't think I'm going to do that today if the weather isn't playing ball. Plus, as I said, I need to get back. So let's go and stash the bike. Might have a wee bite to eat here, get the helmet off and get ready for some hiking. Let's do it. Let's bring it off, slightly off the path. I do have a chain which I'll put on it. A chain like a bike lock. Just in case anybody has temptations. I'll hide up in the heather here. Right. Hey, a wee bite to eat just now. What have I got? Scotch eggs, surprise, surprise. I'll take my sunnies just in case, that's me being the optimist. Yeah, I've got everything I need. I'll put the stats up just now of how long it's taken me to get to this point. Just over 3 hours, but you've got to remember there's a lot of faffing about. Oh, just realised my shorts are falling a bit, so I've had these for about 10 years. I need to buy a new set. Anyway, yeah, I'll put the stats up as to how long it's taken me on the bike to get to the point where you leave the main path for the first Munro, An Sgarsoch, and yeah, let's get going. I'll bring you back a wee bit later, but I don't think it's going to take too long to get up here. It's just going to be a bit of heather bashing, I think. Right, let's go. Yeah, so I'm doing a bit of hiking now. It's just such a lovely, open, wide landscape, expansive, as I said. Anyway, this is the hill I'm going up here. The top's in the cloud. The second Munro's over there. As I said, at the moment it doesn't look like I'm going to head up that one, just because I've done it a few times before and I need to get back. Excuses, excuses. But look at this behind me, looking over to, that's Ben Vroten, the back of the cairgorms. Anyway, the main cairngorm, massive, over there. I'm hoping this cloud lifts so I can show you it. But yeah, I'm going to crack on. I'll report back as I'm heading up. There is a path here which I'm surprised at. It disappeared at the bottom. It was a bit of heather bashing and bog trotting. But yeah, I'm glad to have picked up a path. So it's about 350 metres of ascent from this point. So time to get my my head down, put one foot in front of the other, get to the top. What a place. Lovely. Oh, it's been above 1,000 metres now and I can see the summit. We're just about there. Oh, the top. Aha, right, have a wee seat here. It's a nice wee cairn actually. Big cairn. Oh, get out this wind, it's quite breezy up here. Whoa, this is lovely, nice wee shelter cairn, I like this. Looks like I've timed it just right. The cloud has literally been engulfing this summit all the way up, well most of the way up. And it's just cleared now, which is fine. So whether that's the sun starting to do its work and raising the the cloud base, I don't know, but what a wonderful, wonderful area. As I said, whether or not you classify any areas in Scotland being remote or wild, there's no denying that this is quite an isolated spot, quite a lonely spot. It does take quite a bit of effort to get here. It's the whole area around about here. You've got the Cairngorm massif to the north, and then sort of miles over there, almost acting like a perimeter, is the main A9 which runs between Perth and Inverness, and then over to the east you've got the Linnadee and the Glen Shee Ski Centre, and the hills all round about here, the Grampians and the Eastern Highlands and the Cairngorms, you know, they're characterised by deep clefts, not too many skurs or stob peaks, you know, sharp peaks like you get in the west, but they do have a completely different feel, and that's one of the things about Scotland. You get this variety, again, never take it for granted, but this huge variety of different landscapes, mountainous landscapes in such a small area. Yeah, certainly isolated, and if you are a Munro bagger, this is a prized summit, I suppose. Although it's not taking me that long, it's 4 hours to get here. So again, does that mean it's remote? You know, there's all these tracks, it's all, you know, all the land has been managed. You know, the Land Rover tracks coming in, and any sort of forests have been planted, because Britain was probably one of the first places to deforest its wild forests hundreds of years ago. But anyway, that's another debate. Anyway, yeah, as I said, I've been here a few times before. The last time I was here was 20 years ago, almost to the day. And both times that I've come before, I've come in from the A9 side, from the Glen Tilt, up Glen Tilt and over, and that, if memory serves me right, there's a river crossing there. That's maybe the Tarf water you have to cross to get over from this from that side. I can't remember, but the other way that you can get in is from the north, from Glen Feshy, and I've not done that. That's one to do in the future, I think. Some amazing hills round about here. Maybe the best known one is Ben Gerarg, and there's also a few Corbetts. In fact, I remember taking my bike in, I broke my arm on the Corbetts. I can't remember what they're called. It's a big deep cleft, a beautiful loch in the middle, and there's 2 Corbetts on either side, and I came off my bike, hurt my arm, but I continued round. But you know, it got sorer and sorer and sorer, and then when I got back to the bike, it was almost impossible for me to put any weight down on the handlebars, and it turns out I had to go to A&E, and I'd fractured my elbow, or yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'll put a link to that video in the description. Maybe I shouldn't be highlighting that fact. I should have just gone home, shouldn't I? And anyway, right, I'm going to sit here then when I get back, because I'm not going to bother. It actually looks quite nice walking over to the second Munro. I quite fancy doing it, but you know, this is just a wee leg stretch for me today, and you know, as I said, I'm up with the family, so I need to get back to them, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit here for a bit longer now that the clouds cleared and take in the views. Alright, time to make a move, get out of the middle of nowhere. Still got those river crossings to contend with. I've been sort of sat up here in the shelter of the cairn for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, so time to get moving. There's a Lorne sausage with my name on it, waiting back at the Linnadee. Right, let's go. Right, oh, tell you what, it's not warm. I don't think summer's arrived yet in Scotland. Might just go straight to autumn this year, who knows? Oh yeah.
It was time to head down, and whether you classify it as being wild or remote, what I can tell you is it's a bit of a trek to get back to the car, even with the bike, so it was head down and time to get back to the bike.
I am back at the bike, as you can probably tell. There we go. And there's another bike there. I actually met the first person I've met all day. Yeah, so I've not done too many bits to camera, mainly because it's not taking me that long, maybe 40 minutes to come back down off the hill. And yeah, just a bit of heather bashing. The path does come and go. At times it's quite good, at other times it's just nothing. So yeah, let's get back down. I want to get across these rivers, and I'm starting to get a bit peckish. I have had 2 Scotch eggs, but dare I say it, I think a Lorne sausage and black pudding roll might trump a Scotch egg. Controversial, I know. Right, let's zoot down here. I'll probably bring you back when I'm trying to cross the rivers and taking my shoes off and putting my neoprene slippers on and blah de blah de blah, all that faff. Right, looking forward to this though. Downhill most of the way. Let's go. Hopefully you can hear it. Hear me. I'm down at the river crossing. You know what, the river levels have actually dropped quite significantly. A fair bit. I've still got my shoesies on. I've changed into my waterproof neoprene slippers, so I'm going to keep them on here, head across here. I'll put you onto hit cam belt and we'll report back further down the road. Let's do this. So the river level had dropped a little bit, but it didn't mean that it was going to be easy, and I still needed to take care going across the burn. It's certainly not a place to slip and fall, that's for sure, and I was glad when I got across. Oh, that's it done. Easy peasy, and I've come here and there's about 12, I've counted 12 bikes. Loads over there, some more over there. So everyone's come here and just ditched a bike, so either I was doing something right, something wrong. Right, let's go. I'm going to keep my neoprene slippers on until I've got the other river crossing, which I cycled across and probably could cycle again, but to save me fanning about, I'm just going to keep them on. Look at that. Sexy beast. Let's go. So I was soon at the third and final river crossing, and I just stayed on my bike and managed to cycle across it without any mishaps. And yeah, once I got across there, I got my shoes on and cycled down towards the Bothy. So if I stopped, I'll give you a wee tour. I'll look inside the Bothy, hopefully you can hear this. It's in here, let's have a look. Do some sleeping quarter in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bunk beds there in this room. Nice wee view out the window. Lovely. Right, let's go through to the other room and have a look. See what's through here. Oh, wee visitor book, I might have to sign that. Oh, this is really nice. Wee eating area. So, a really nice Bothy. I think this has been done up quite recently though. Certainly looks it, and it's nice and clean as well, so all those people that were in it have kept it nicely clean. So I'm going to sign the book, then head on. Need to get back from our Lorne sausage. Right, signed the book. Let's get back down final stretch. Having had a little bit of shelter in the Bothy, it was time to get back on the bike, and from here back down to the Linnadee, it was fantastic. A slight downhill gradient, and yeah, just great riding. I really enjoyed this ride back to the car. Well, as you can probably tell, I am back at the van. That was a fantastic cycle down from the Bothy. Really just foot to the floor, just really quick. Freewheeling in bits and just lots of speed. It was lovely, really good. So yeah, what can I say about today? But yeah, so was it the most remote Munro in Scotland? Well, it might be one of the most remote in Scottish terms. I think it is. I think you can kind of say they're remote, but if you compare them to other places, maybe not. But as I said, certainly isolated, not a place to get into bother. So anyway, going to end the video here. Lorne sausages are on. We'll see you next week. Stay safe out there. Yeah, see you next week for another video.
Yeah, Cavani getting a helicopter to land at Farah.
just in case any of you thought I'd just easily slipped into the water and was diving around, here's the truth. It took me about 5 minutes to pluck up the courage to have the Duke. It was cold!
Right. Here we go. Woohoo! Oh,